The shattered Dawn Commander Sarah Chon was sipping her morning coffee aboard Luna Station when Earth died. The orbital observation platform gave her the perfect view of humanity's home world as it spun peacefully below, blue oceans catching the first rays of sunlight. It was March 21st, 2189, and Sarah was looking forward to her retirement in just 6 months. 25 years of service had earned her this quiet posting, watching over Earth's skies and monitoring deep space communications. The alarm shattered her peaceful morning like breaking glass. Sarah nearly dropped her coffee mug as red lights flooded the command center. Her communications officer, Lieutenant Torres, turned toward her with a face pale as lunar dust. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy signatures dropping out of hyperspace. Multiple contacts, bearing down on Earth's major population centers." Sarah rushed to the main display screen and felt her blood freeze. Dozens of sleek, black ships were materializing in Earth's atmosphere above every major city. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, Sao Paulo. The vessels were unlike anything in human records. Long and angular, like deadly spears pointed at the heart of civilization. "Get me Earth Defense Command," Sarah ordered, her voice steady despite the terror growing in her chest. "Priority Alpha emergency." Before Lieutenant Torres could establish contact, the first alien ship opened fire. A beam of searing purple energy lanced down from orbit and struck Manhattan. Where the Empire State Building had stood for centuries, there was now only empty air and falling debris. The beam swept across the city like a scythe, and everywhere it touched, matter simply ceased to exist. "Dear God," Torres whispered as they watched similar beams firing down at cities across the globe. "They're killing everyone." Sarah grabbed her communication headset and opened channels to every human settlement in the solar system. "This is Luna Station to all colonies. Earth is under attack by unknown hostile forces. Repeat, Earth is under attack. All military units, all civilian vessels, anyone who can fight, converge on Earth immediately." But even as she spoke, Sarah knew they were too late. The alien ships worked with terrifying efficiency, methodically erasing Earth's cities from existence. Billions of people were dying in the first hour of what would later be called the Vorthan invasion. Dr. Marcus Webb felt the ground shake above his laboratory, buried 3 kilometers beneath the Colorado mountains. The physicist had been working on experimental faster-than-light communication when emergency sirens began wailing throughout the underground research facility. His assistant, Dr. Jennifer Park, burst into the lab with tears streaming down her face. "Marcus, you need to see this," she said, pointing to the emergency broadcast on their screen. "They're gone. The cities are just gone." Marcus watched in horror as satellite feeds showed empty craters where millions of people had lived just hours before. The attackers were aliens. That much was clear from the brief glimpses of their ships before communication satellites went dark. But these weren't the peaceful explorers that humanity had always hoped to meet among the stars. These were conquerors, and they had come to erase human civilization. "We need to contact the other underground facilities," Marcus said, forcing himself to think clearly. "If these aliens are using energy weapons, our deep installations might be the only places that survived." As if reading his thoughts, his secure communication system crackled to life. Voices from hidden bases around the world reported in Cheyenne. Mountain was intact. The Australian deep labs were responding. Underwater research stations in the Pacific had survived the initial attack. Humanity had not been completely wiped out, but Earth's surface was now an alien battlefield. Captain Elena Rodriguez was leading a routine patrol mission in the asteroid belt when the distress signals reached her fighter squadron. She commanded 12 pilots in the newest human space fighters, sleek vessels designed for mining colony protection rather than warfare. None of them had ever faced anything more dangerous than space pirates. "All wings, this is Captain Rodriguez," she announced. "Over the squadron frequency. We're heading home at maximum burn. Earth needs every ship we can get." The journey back to Earth took 18 hours at full acceleration. When Elena's squadron finally approached their home system, what they found made even veteran pilots weep. Earth's once bright cities were dark. The orbital defense platforms that had protected humanity for decades were nothing but debris clouds. And patrolling through it all were the alien ships that had brought death from the stars. "Command, this is Razor Squadron," Elena transmitted on emergency frequencies. "We count 36 hostile vessels in Earth orbit, requesting orders." The response came from Luna Station, where Commander Chun was coordinating what remained of Earth's defenses. "Razor Squadron, you are to link up with surviving Earth forces at coordinates Delta 7. We're planning a counterattack." Elena's pilot, Sergeant Mike Santos, looked at her with disbelief. "Captain, those alien ships are 10 times our size. Our mining lasers can't even scratch military-grade hull plating." "Then we'll have to get creative," Elena replied grimly. "Humanity doesn't give up. Not ever." General Thomas Kane had survived the destruction of Washington, D.C. by sheer luck. He'd been visiting the deep command bunker beneath the Pentagon when the alien beams struck. Now, 3 days after the initial attack, he was coordinating resistance efforts from the underground facility, while his staff worked to contact any surviving military units around the globe. The aliens had made a critical mistake, Kane realized, as he studied intelligence reports. They had focused their attack on surface cities and military installations, assuming that destroying humanity's centers of power would break all resistance. But humans had built deep, and humans were stubborn. Underground bases, submarine fleets, space stations, and asteroid mining colonies were all reporting in, ready to fight. "General," his intelligence officer reported, "we've intercepted alien communications. Dr. Webb's team managed to crack their basic language protocols." Kane studied the translated messages with growing understanding and rage. Earth hadn't been randomly attacked. Humanity had been targeted for extermination by something called the Vorthan Empire. These aliens viewed humans as a potential threat to their galactic dominance, and had decided to eliminate that threat before it could develop. "They call us primitive vermin," Kane read aloud. "They're surprised we're still fighting back at all." But the most chilling part of the intercepted communications was yet to come. Earth was just the beginning. The Vorthans planned to hunt down every human colony in space, every mining station, every research outpost. They wanted to erase humanity completely from the galaxy. "Send word to every human installation in the solar system," Kane ordered. "We're not just fighting for our lives anymore. We're fighting for our species' survival." Dr. Webb's breakthrough came on the 5th day after the attack. Working with salvaged alien technology from a crashed Vorthan scout ship, he discovered something that made him smile for the first time since Earth burned. The aliens' energy weapons were powerful, but they generated massive electromagnetic pulses as a side effect. Human electronics, built to withstand solar flares and cosmic radiation, were largely immune to this interference. "We can jam their targeting systems," Webb explained to a gathering of military leaders via secure hologram. "Every time they fire those primary weapons, they blind themselves for several seconds. We can use that window to attack." More importantly, Webb had analyzed the Vorthan ship hull materials. They were strong against energy weapons, but surprisingly vulnerable to kinetic impacts. Human railguns and missile systems could hurt them if humans could get close enough. "They're not invincible," Webb concluded. "They're just bullies who never expected their victims to fight back." The first successful human counterattack came a week after the invasion began. Captain Rodriguez led a coordinated strike by 30 human fighters against a lone Vorthan ship patrolling Earth's moon. Using Dr. Webb's jamming technology and hit-and-run tactics, the human pilots managed to damage the alien vessel's engines and force it to crash land on the lunar surface. For the first time since the attack began, humans had proven they could hurt their enemies. The psychological impact was enormous. Across the solar system, human forces began planning bigger and bolder strikes against the occupying fleet. But the aliens were learning too. Vorthan reinforcements began arriving from deep space, bringing heavier ships and new weapons designed specifically to hunt down human survivors. The war was escalating, and humanity's small victories were about to face much deadlier challenges. The real shock came when human cryptographers finally decoded high-level Vorthan military communications. General Kane read the translated message 3 times before its full meaning sank in. The attack on Earth wasn't an isolated conquest. It was the first phase of something called the Human Cleansing Protocol. The Vorthan Empire had been watching humanity for decades, studying human expansion into space and technological development. They had concluded that humans were potentially dangerous to their galactic dominance and had decided to eliminate the threat while humanity was still contained to one star system, Asterisk. But the plan went far beyond Earth. Vorthan fleets were already heading toward every known human colony. Mars, Europa, the asteroid mining stations, even the deep space exploration ships that had left the solar system years ago. The aliens had compiled a complete list of human settlements and were systematically moving to destroy them all. They want to commit genocide, Kane told his staff officers. Complete species extinction. As the full scope of the Vorthan plan became clear, something fundamental changed in the human survivors. The shock and grief of Earth's devastation transformed into something harder and infinitely more dangerous. Humanity had tried to reach the stars in peace, but the galaxy had responded with unprovoked slaughter. Commander Chun, coordinating from Luna Station, put humanity's new position into words that would echo through history. They wanted to erase us from existence because they feared what we might become. Now they're going to learn exactly why they should have been afraid. The battered remnants of Earth's civilization began to change. Research facilities shifted from peaceful exploration to weapons development. Mining operations focused on materials for warships. Even civilian colonies started training every person who could hold a weapon. The Vorthans had intended to destroy humanity before it could become a threat. Instead, they had created exactly the enemy they feared most, a species with nothing left to lose and every reason to fight back. The first phase of the war was ending, but the real battle for humanity's survival was just beginning. And this time, humans would not be caught unprepared. Asterisk the Hunter's Path. 3 years had passed since the Vorthan Empire turned Earth's skies to fire. The blue-green world that had once been humanity's peaceful home was now a fortress planet, its surface covered with military installations and weapons factories. Where great cities had once stood, massive railgun batteries pointed toward the stars like accusing fingers. Admiral Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the battleship, Retribution, watching her home world through the reinforced viewports. She no longer held the rank of commander. The woman who had coordinated humanity's first desperate resistance from Luna Station now commanded the largest fleet of warships in human history. 200 vessels surrounded Earth, each one built from salvaged alien technology and human determination. Admiral, her tactical officer reported, long-range sensors are detecting the Vorthan fleet at Kepler 442b, estimated 43 vessels, just as intelligence predicted. Sarah nodded grimly. Kepler 442b was the first major Vorthan colony world that humanity had targeted for complete destruction. The irony wasn't lost on her. 3 years ago, the aliens had tried to exterminate humanity for being a potential threat. Now humans were systematically hunting down every Vorthan settlement in known space. Signal the fleet, Sarah ordered. All ships, prepare for hyperspace jump. Today, we show the galaxy what happens when you try to erase humanity from existence. Dr. Marcus Webb had transformed from a peaceful researcher into humanity's chief weapons designer. His underground laboratory in Colorado had become the most important military facility on Earth, where teams of human engineers worked around the clock to improve upon captured alien technology. Webb himself had changed too. The gentle scientist, who once studied faster-than-light communication, now focused entirely on finding new ways to kill Vorthans. The new antimatter torpedoes are ready for field testing. Webb reported to Admiral Chun via hologram. Each one carries enough destructive power to crack a moon. The Vorthans won't see them coming until it's too late. Webb's greatest achievement was the reverse engineering of Vorthan hyperspace technology. Not only had humans learned to travel faster than light, they had improved upon the original design. Human ships could now jump farther and more accurately than their Vorthan counterparts. The hunters had become faster than their prey. How many Vorthan colonies have we eliminated? Webb asked, though he already knew the answer. He kept count of every world they cleansed, just as the aliens had planned to count every dead human. 37 so far, Sarah replied. Kepler 442b will be 38. We're not stopping until every last one of them is dead or scattered. To the void. Captain Elena Rodriguez no longer flew a single fighter. Now she commanded an entire wing of 100 pilots, each flying ships that would have been impossible to build before the Vorthan attack. Human aerospace engineers had taken alien technology and made it deadlier, faster, and more maneuverable than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Phoenix Wing, this is actual. Elena transmitted to her pilots as they prepared for the attack on Kepler 442b. Remember your training. Hit fast, hit hard, and show no mercy. These are the same species that tried to murder every human child in existence. Elena's fighters were equipped with weapons that Dr. Webb had designed specifically for close combat. Against Vorthan ships, plasma cannons that could punch through alien hull plating, quantum disruptors that turned enemy electronics into useless scrap, and something Webb called kinetic penetrators that could split a Vorthan cruiser in half. With a single shot, the young fighter pilot who had once cried over Earth's burning cities was now humanity's most feared ace. Elena had personally destroyed 47 Vorthan ships in combat, and every alien fleet commander in the galaxy knew her call sign, Phoenix Rising. General Thomas Kane had survived to see humanity's transformation into a galactic military. Power. From his command center on Earth, he coordinated military operations across dozens of star systems. The man who had once fought to save human civilization now directed its expansion as a conquering force. The Vorthans are getting desperate. Kane's intelligence officer reported. They're abandoning their outer colonies and consolidating around their home system. Some of their commanders are trying to contact us with peace offers. Kane's expression hardened. Peace? They showed our children no mercy when they fired on our schools and hospitals. They don't get to cry for peace now that we're winning. Vorthan peace offers had been arriving for months as human fleets carved through alien space like a hot knife through butter. Alien diplomats begged for negotiations, offered tribute, even suggested dividing the galaxy into separate territories. Every offer was rejected without consideration. Humanity had tried peaceful contact with the galaxy first. The response had been attempted genocide. Now the galaxy would learn what humans are truly capable of when pushed beyond their breaking point. The Battle of Kepler 442b began at dawn, local time. Admiral Chun's fleet dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation, surrounding the Vorthan colony world like a tightening noose. The alien defenders had 43 ships, but they were facing 200 human vessels equipped with technology their own scientists had created. Open fire, Sarah commanded. and space lit up with the fury of human weapons. The new antimatter torpedoes worked exactly as Dr. Webb had promised. Each one struck a Vorthan ship and consumed it completely, matter and antimatter annihilating each other in bursts of pure energy. Within the first 10 minutes of combat, half the alien fleet had been erased from existence. Captain Rodriguez led her fighters in strafing runs against the Vorthan planetary defense platforms. The alien weapons that had once seemed so terrifyingly powerful were now hopelessly outmatched by human engineering improvements. Phoenix Wing destroyed the orbital defenses in less than an hour, leaving the planet helpless below. "This is Admiral Chun to the Vorthan Colony Commander," Sarah broadcast on all frequencies. "You have 10 minutes to evacuate your people to the outer system. After that, your world dies just like our cities died." The Vorthan response came in broken, desperate human language. "Please, Admiral Chun, we have civilians down here. Families. Children. We surrender completely." Sarah felt no emotion as she replied. "You had families and children too, when you decided to exterminate humanity. 10 minutes. The evacuation ships that lifted off from Kepler 442b were allowed to escape, just as human refugees had been allowed to flee Earth's burning cities. But once they were clear, Admiral Chun gave the order that sealed the planet's fate. Commence planetary bombardment. Grid pattern, total surface sterilization. The human fleet opened fire with weapons designed specifically for destroying worlds. Gravitational disruptors cracked the planet's crust. Atmospheric incinerators turned the air itself into poison. Tectonic resonance charges triggered earthquakes that split continents apart. When the bombardment ended 6 hours later, Kepler 442b was a lifeless rock spinning through space. Another Vorthan world had been erased from existence, just as they had tried to erase Earth.news of Kepler 442b's destruction, spread through Vorthan space like wildfire. For the first time since the war began, alien civilians began to question their empire's decision to attack humanity. Some colonies surrendered without a fight. Others tried to hide. A few attempted to negotiate separate peace treaties with approaching human fleets. None of it mattered. Humanity had moved beyond anger into something colder and more implacable. Every Vorthan world would fall. Every alien who had supported the attempted genocide would face justice. The galaxy would learn that attacking humanity first was the last mistake any species would ever make. Asterisk. The final assault on the Vorthan homeworld came 2 years later. Their capital system was defended by over 500 ships, the largest fleet the alien empire had ever assembled. They faced 800 human vessels, commanded by Admiral Chun herself, accompanied by the most advanced weapons Dr. Webb had ever created. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Human Space Force," she broadcast to the enemy fleet. 5 years ago, your empire decided that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to exist. You are right to fear us, but you should have made sure we were all dead. A battle of Vorth Prime lasted 3 days and lit up the system's star with weapons fire. When it ended, the Vorthan Empire's military had been completely destroyed. Their homeworld's population centers lay in ruins. The alien species that had once commanded dozens of star systems was reduced to scattered refugees, fleeing into unknown space. But Admiral Chun wasn't finished. Standing on the bridge of her flagship as it orbited the conquered alien homeworld, she opened communications to every remaining Vorthan settlement in the galaxy. "This is humanity's final message to the Vorthan Empire," she announced. "You tried to commit genocide against our species. You failed. Now you will face the consequences of that decision for the rest of your existence. Any Vorthan ship that approaches human space will be destroyed. Any world that harbors Vorthan refugees will be visited by our fleets. Any species that aids the aliens who tried to murder our children will learn why the galaxy should fear humanity when it chooses war over peace. The message was broadcast in every known alien language and transmitted to every corner of explored space. Within months, alien civilizations that had never heard of Earth were learning about the species that had risen from near extinction to dominate the galaxy through sheer determination and technological superiority. Dr. Webb returned to his laboratory after the victory, but his work was far from over. Now he focused on defensive technologies, building the weapons and shields that would protect humanity's expanding territory from any future threats. The galaxy had tried to kill humanity in its cradle. Now humans would make sure they never faced such a threat again. Captain Rodriguez founded the first human Space Force Academy, training the next generation of pilots who would patrol humanity's new empire. Her students learned the same lesson she had learned in the fires of war. Never start a fight with humanity, but always finish one. General Kane oversaw the establishment of human colonies on former Vorthan worlds, turning the galaxy's newest military power into its most advanced civilization. Worlds that had once belonged to humanity's enemies now hosted human cities, human families, and human dreams of a peaceful future among the stars. But they also hosted human weapons, human soldiers, and human memories of what happened when someone tried to erase humanity from existence. The war was over, but its lessons would echo through the galaxy for generations. Humanity had proven that they could be the most peaceful species in the universe, or the most dangerous. The choice belonged to those who decided whether to meet humans with friendship or aggression. The Vorthan Empire had chosen aggression. Now they were extinct, and humanity stood as the galaxy's dominant power. Other alien civilizations took note and chose friendship instead. After all, they had seen what happened to species that made the mistake of attacking humanity first. Asterisk.